Hey everyone, it's Michelle. Welcome back to the channel. The name of my channel is Shells, Bits, and Pieces, and yeah, we just do crafts here and we have a lot of fun. So today, as promised, we are going to do a tutorial on how to make these really cute Halloween and fall inspired specimen cards. And if you watched my last video, you'll remember that we created a background paper, this one right here, you see, yeah, this one. And we are going to use this one to make a Halloween / fall inspired specimen card. I don't know if any of you saw these cards on Facebook, but I did post them to one of the groups that I'm in, and I'm sorry I can't remember the name exactly, but I think it's Junk Journals for Beginners or something. I'll post a link at the bottom of the video once I'm finished, or in the comments section or the description or wherever it's supposed to go. And if you guys are interested in joining that Facebook group, you'll be able to do so as well. There's a lot of really talented people that post their really cool makes and ideas, and you know, I'm really happy to be part of that community, and I look forward to being part of that community for a really good long time. So if you're not part of it and you want to be part of it, think about joining the group, and you can join in the fun as well. So let's get started on these specimen cards, shall we? All right, I'm going to move these out of the way, and we'll just start from the beginning. There's a few items that you're going to need. You're going to need some sort of background paper, or you could use cards, you could use card stock, you could use really anything that you want. But today my focus is going to be on what I have, and yeah, so how I created the actual frame for this. It was a die set that I had bought on Amazon. It came with 2 dies, and one of them is this one. And it's actually a really cool die. It measures, where did I put my little paper that I wrote it on? I don't know. It measures like 5 9/16 or something by 2 7/16. I will link a description and what it's called on Amazon if you're interested in purchasing one. I think this particular set it came with another piece, this piece, and this is what it's called. It's called Sunny Kid Retro Slides Paper DIY Scrapbooking or something. It's made in China. It's okay, but it works really good, and it cuts out a nice size slide, and this piece flaps over so that you can close in the background. And if you don't want it like that, you could cut it here and just do like a see-through one. I didn't choose to do that on these particular ones, but you know, the slide is very versatile, and you can probably imagine that I may do some Christmas themed or winter holiday themed slides as well in the next month or so, so be on the lookout for those too. All right, let's just jump right in, shall we? So I'm going to go off camera for a moment, and I'm going to cut the slide out of this paper. I'm just going to try to, you know, use whatever space that I have on it, and, you know, be able to have a little extra left over for a doodad or a whatnot or something. So let me find my stuff here, and I'll show you a couple of others that you can kind of look at. I have some double-sided patterned paper that I had cut out, not like last weekend when I actually made these cards. And you know, you can just let your imagination run wild. You don't have to use patterned paper. You don't have to use the glossy photo paper like I have here that I created this background on. You can pretty much do anything that you want. Alright, so I have my slide cut out, or my frame cut out, and we're going to just start working on decorating. A few of the other things that you're going to need, and I guess I should have told you this in the beginning of all the supplies that you're going to need, but let's just go from there and move on. You will need some sort of background paper. You will need some sort of way to cut out a frame, and you can do it any way you like. Like I had mentioned, you can do playing cards, cardstock, patterned cardstock, patterned paper. I would suggest using a heavier paper or A4 cardstock, only just for the durability of the frame, because it does need to be fairly solid and strong, and you want to make sure that, you know, it's not going to fall apart or tear on you once you get it all put together. So I would recommend using something a little heavier. This glossy photo paper works really, really well. It's got a nice consistency. It's not too heavy, it's not too light. It's pliable, bendable, foldable. So yeah, it does the job. It really does. And then I also, like I had said, I have these really cool Halloween themed patterned papers that I had already cut out, and I have some coordinating things as well. And the great thing about these is you can flip them over and use either side. It doesn't matter. It's just so versatile and pretty. It does only score the die. It only scores on one side. So if you have a scoreboard, it fits perfectly up against the edge and it lines up with one of the holes. And I'm not sure what measurement it's at. It's probably like 2 3/4 or something. But yeah, I'll pull the scoreboard out here shortly after we gather up all our materials. So back to what you need. I get off track and I'm so sorry, guys. I have had quite a week, and yeah, I don't want to bum you guys out, so we're not going to talk about that stuff. But anyway, you'll need some sort of background that coordinates, because when you fold this over, your background's going to show up here. You'll also need some little pictures, charms, whatever. If you guys remember, I had cut these out in one of my last videos when I did the Halloween and fall inspired tags, and so I have some of those left. You could have little ephemera pieces like the Tim Holtz. This one I believe is from Field Notes or Specimen. I'm not sure exactly which one. I have a bunch of these. You could create your own. This is from a die set that I have. I don't know the set name because I found that particular die set in the bins, so it could be anything, but I have a couple little butterflies and dragonflies and things. You could also do botanical. I have a little plant thing here. I just cut these out of craft cardstock last week, and you know, just whatever you have. You could take a picture out of a magazine, you could take a picture of a family member. Really, the possibilities are endless, so just use your imagination and use up what you have. So like I said, one more time, the background paper for the frame. You'll need some acetate, because I don't know if you can see in this, but it is shiny, and I do have acetate in there to kind of make it look like it's an actual slide. The size on the acetate for this is 2.5 by 2.5. Coordinating background paper, and it can be anything. I have these little squares. These are cut at like 2 1/4 by 2 1/4, and I'll show you how to adhere those. Like I said, a little picture of something, maybe a little sentiment, or you could do like a rubber stamped number like I did on these. I just have a rubber stamp set that I stamped on the this little number here, and it's just random. These don't mean anything. They're just kind of there. They're just a lot of fun and just bring some really cool interest to the slide. You'll also need some little eyelets or brads. These are 1/8 inch eyelets, and I have a Crop-a-Dile that I cut the holes with and set the eyelets with, so I'll show you how to do that as well. And you know, some ink, some, you know, like Distress Oxide. I've used both of these products, and I will say, I mean, for roughing up the edges and making things look a little bit more worn and vintage, I wouldn't recommend the Oxide. The Oxide's a little bit creamier and heavier than the ink. The ink actually does really well for distressing and making things look vintage. I do like both products, but I think for this particular project, this is going to be your friend as opposed to this. This is good for backgrounds, and you can kind of add a little bit of extra, you know, oomph or whatever you want to call it to your backgrounds. But having used the ink more than I have the oxides, right now my preference is the ink. So that's just my little take on it. All right, so let's decide what kind of background we're going to use for this particular card. I like all of these, and I do want to keep it fall and Halloween inspired. So I say we just pick something that'll go really well with this. I've really kind of been leaning towards this one, and it does pick up the colors of the frame. So I think that this will be really cool as a background. So I'm just going to glue this down. I'm going to center it here. But before I do that, I'm going to get my scoring board and I'm going to score the lines so we can bend this over. So give me just a second while I grab that. Of course, every well-intended plan always has its issues. I try to be as prepared as I can when I come on here to do these videos, and I do have a smaller craft space, but still I seem to have things that kind of just end up off to the side, and then I have to go looking for them. So it's my mania. It's whatever. So I've actually picked up this scoring board, and I have two of them, believe it or not. I picked it up at the Goodwill bins. And yeah, when you go to the Goodwill outlets, Goodwill bins, whatever you want to call it, everything is priced per pound. So it's $1.69 a pound when you buy anything that's just basic household goods, crafts, you know, just whatever. All this craft stuff is $1.69 a pound when I go in there. And yeah, when I find it, I grab it. And you know, it's okay if I have duplicates, because I may find that there's somebody that might not have a scoring board that wants one, or I could re-gift it to a friend, a relative, you know, whatever. And I always like to pick up what I see, because the Goodwill outlets is the last stop before the landfill. And anything that I pull out of there that I can rescue from the landfill, I feel really good about that. And I do get some pretty cool stuff for really amazing prices, so you kind of can't go wrong with that. But anyway, like I said, the score marks on this are here, but they're only on one side. And this just fits perfectly. And like I said, I think it was about 2 3/4, and it is, from edge to score. So I'm just going to reinforce this score real quick, and then I'm going to flip it over and score the other side too, just so we get a nice crisp edge when we go to fold it. So there's the one side, and it lines up beautifully, and we'll do the other side as well. And the first scoreboard that I found actually didn't have any of the instructions or the bone tool. So thankfully when I found this one, it did, and they're up here. This one's made by Stewart. I don't know if you can see that. And it has all of the measurements to make envelopes and different, you know, whatever you want, gatefold cards, yeah, just all kinds of stuff. And it has a little instruction sheet too that's all balled up in here in the end. But it was great to find this with everything intact, because my other one, like I said, doesn't have all this stuff. It's just the board. And I was kind of bummed out when I first found the first one that it didn't have everything, but when I found this one, I was like, yes, I have everything now. So there you go. Sorry, I have to kind of put that out of the way, because like I've said, my craft space is a decent space. It's a smaller space, and it's an actual functional space, but I have a table off to the side, and I've got, you know, a long counter. And if you've seen some of my short videos that I've posted on YouTube, you can see the long countertop that I have. It's about 10 feet long, which is great, and there's cabinets underneath. I absolutely love it, and it's very functional. It works really good for me. So there's that. I also forgot to say, you're going to need some glue. This is the glue I'm going to use today. It's called art glitter glue, and if I find that the art glitter glue isn't sticking well enough on projects, I'll back it up with this stuff, and this stuff is really, really good. The two main differences between these, this one's water-based and this one's acetone-based, and this one, they both, I guess, dry quickly. This one, if you're not careful, you'll get like glue strings coming off of like things when you're, you know, the little boogers that come off of the glue or whatever. You'll get a lot of that with this if you overdo it. This stuff, not so much. They both dry clear. They both dry really, I guess the adhesion dries really well, and they do hold very good on multiple surfaces. Thicker, heavier items, I would go with this. Just paper, cardstock, and whatnot. This one's my other option that I like better. So we're going to use this one today, but if we find we need to add, you know, a little bit more heavier adhesion, we'll pick up the Fabrifix as well. All right, so I think we decided that we were going to use this as our background paper for this. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to just ink up the edges because I want it to look a little bit more distressed than it does, and it'll just add some depth to our project when it's completed and all said and done. So I do have these brushes. I had got them about a year and a half ago on Amazon. It was a set of 10 or 12 for $10 or $12. I don't exactly remember. It might not have even been that much, but I'll link something in the description, so if you wanted to get a set of these, you could. And they do come with stickers to show you, so that you can put a color on. I don't know if you can see that. There it is. If you want to put the color of the actual inking that you're using that particular brush for, if you don't remember, or you're just, some people may want like multiples for brown, and they might want multiples for pink or red. I'm not that picky. Browns are browns, reds are reds in my opinion, and a lot of times whatever's left from the last time you used doesn't really come off if you put a new one on, like a new color. So it works for me. This is Walnut Stain Distress ink, and it's the little minis. For some reason I'm having trouble finding the larger ones, like the Oxide size pads in the stores. I can only find these little minis, and I'd really like to get some bigger ones in the ink, but I can't really find them. I may have to order them online. I haven't been real diligent in looking for my colors and stuff, so that's what I got. But I love the Walnut Stain, and I've had this ink pad for probably 4 years. I bought it in a set of 4, maybe only 3. No, it might have only been 3. I've also got Vintage Photo, which is darker. No, Vintage Photo is not darker. It's a little lighter. And then I've got Antique Linen as well. And a couple other colors that didn't come with that kit. They came with a different one. But this was my starter one, and I've still got it, and it still works. I will need to be replacing it soon, or think about it. I've been kind of keeping it moist by spraying water on it, and I know it's slowly diminishing the depth of color for this one. But for now it works, and until I get a new one, this is what we've got. So I'm just gonna, like I said, I'm gonna ink up the edges of this, and spraying water on it does keep it moist. It's not diminishing the quality or the depth of color too much, but I do notice a slight difference every time I add water to it. It kind of just lessens it. I probably could purchase a re-inker. Haven't thought about that either. I'm not a very good crafter, am I? Actually, I've been crafting for a really, really long time. I started doing paper crafting about 15 years ago, and I fell in love with it. There were other types of crafts that I had tried out through the years. I've done plastic canvas, and I've done cake decorating. Not that that's a craft, but it kind of is. I've done beads and jewelry. There was a time I made a whole bunch of lanyards for like nurses to wear their badges on and stuff, and I did that for a little while. And I had the whole bead board. When I do crafts, I do crafts. I go all out and do them all. So I think that we're okay with this. I mean, I don't know if you can see real well the outlining of the inking, but it's there. And like I said, as you wet down these Distress ink pads, I think that they do kind of diminish in color over time. So I will be purchasing a new one of these one day. Don't know when. I haven't really thought about needing it for a whole lot right now, but I will get a new one. So enough about that. So we're going to try to center this piece as well as we can on our background. And guys, I really do apologize for my poor skills at using this camera setup. Like I've said in past videos, I don't have the best setup for my camera, but I do want to continue filming videos and stuff, so I'll just make it work until I can't make it work anymore. I need to find my other bone folder thing. This one's a really old one. I don't know if any of you have a Cricut or have had a Cricut, but this came with my very first Cricut that I had gotten in 2008. Yeah, I had a Cricut in 2008. I had the original, and then I had the second one, and then after that I kind of stopped doing Cricut related projects. I had gotten a job and just didn't have a lot of time anymore, and so eventually those two Cricuts got sold, and I had had some major life changes and realized that I missed my Cricut, so I purchased another one. And I also had found one of the original small personal Cricut die cutting machines in the bins, and I think I paid $5 for it, and it works. And so when I find cartridges in the bins, I also pick those up, because even though you can't use them on the newer machines, you can use them on the old machines. And so I like to have that excuse me, just as something extra to have around in my stash, because I'm sure we've all got really cool craft stashes. So what I did was I tried to make this crease as good as I can. This photo paper is pliable and workable. You just have to kind of work at it a little bit, because you don't want to pull the metallic off, so you have to be a little careful as you're folding it, but it does fold pretty good. So I'm just going to use this as a guide to put my background paper in, and we could have also went with this one. I don't think it pops as much with that one. I really like the contrast with the orange and the brown, and you can do this with anything, like I said. Just make sure that you get it in there so that you don't see any of the white background, and it's just this. So we're gonna glue this, and yeah, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mark it so I have it exactly where I want it, because sometimes you think, oh yeah, it's in the perfect spot, and then you go to glue it down and it moved, and you're like, oh, that's not where I wanted that. So I'm just gonna put a little dot here and a little dot here. Nobody's going to see that either once you get this completed. It's just a little guide dot so that you can know where the stuff's supposed to go. I do want to say thank you to all of my new subscribers. I've only had a few in the last couple weeks, and I know that it's hard making a name for yourself out here in the YouTube world, and I've been trying. My YouTube channel is not brand new. I actually renamed it not too long ago. It used to be The Downsized Diva, and the reason it was named The Downsized Diva was because I was downsized from my job about 4 years ago, and I wanted to create a channel kind of going over some of the things in my life, and I also was I had become a full-time Instacart shopper to make ends meet and ensure that I wouldn't lose everything that I had worked for my whole life. So I started doing a lot of videos about Instacart, and I have kind of backed away from that for the most part. I'll do Instacart once in a while, just if an order pops up after I've logged on to the website or whatever, just to see if there's anything worth doing. And it is a nice little side hustle, I'm not gonna lie. And when I was doing it full time, I have to say I'm very thankful for having found Instacart, because I was out of a job and I had a hard time finding another one that was comparable to the job that I had. I was in a professional position at a nonprofit, and they had some serious budgetary issues going on, and they started cutting jobs and a few staff members. So I was one of 3 people that was designated as we can't keep you, we can't afford you kind of thing. So, until I could find something a little more permanent, I did Instacart, and I actually did it for almost a year, and that was 5 years ago. So, yeah. So I had done videos about Instacart and the changes that were happening from the time I had started, and like I said, I got away from that, and I do have a few throwback videos on my channel if you're interested in watching them. If you don't want to watch them, it won't hurt my feelings. It's fine. I'm just leaving them there just for the analytics reason. I do have some views and some watch time, and I am attempting to work towards monetizing this channel. So I'm just leaving them there for the time being, and they may go dormant. They may get put as private it sometime down the road, but you know, they're just throwbacks of my time as an Instacart shopper, and I don't do that anymore. My channel is now Shells, Bits, and Pieces, and it's designed for doing videos on crafting and all the cool stuff that I find in the thrift stores. So that's what we're going to do now. All right, so I have the background glued down as I was jabbering off about my life as an Instacart shopper. That's not what this video is about, so please don't leave. Oh my goodness, it's just one of those kind of days. Today's Saturday, I'm off today. I live in Colorado, and the weather outside is just beautiful. The leaves are starting to change, and I want to get out this afternoon and maybe go peep some leaves and see a couple things. There's this really cool artist. His name is Thomas Dambo, and he builds trolls all around the world, and we've got two here in Colorado. There's one in Breckenridge, which I've already visited, and there's another one out in Victor, and I think I'd like to go out there this afternoon and, you know, see if I can find the troll and peep some fall leaves. From what I understand, the aspens are starting to change, and they go from green to gold pretty quickly up in the high country. So that's kind of what I'd like to do this afternoon if I can. So let's finish this up. So next up, we'll want to glue our acetate on the front. And I do this now so that once, you know, we get it folded over, we'll be able to see what it looks like when we put our design in here. And that's another thing we have to choose, and we'll be thinking about that with my little leaf plate of cool little goodies and stuff. But let's get the acetate down. Now, like I said before, this was cut at 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. These are cut at 2 1/2 by 2 1/2 because I want them to overlap as much as I can. And if you look, they do go over the holes, but we're not going to worry about that because we have a Crop-a-Dile, and we're going to cut through everything so that we can set our eyelets. So let's go ahead and get this glued down. Shouldn't take but a minute. I will glue it, I'll put the glue on here as opposed to on here, because then I can see where it's going and where I want it to be. And you know, you don't need a lot of this art glitter glue. It's pretty sticky and works really, really fast. And the one thing I really like about this particular glue is that it dries clear. It doesn't inhibit or smear that I've seen so far. Now, I could be wrong about that, so don't quote me on it. But you know, everything that I've glued with it so far, I don't get any smearing. It's pretty easy to wipe off while it's still wet. And what I do with my thingy, this came with this bottle, and it's funny because other pins won't fit in this head. So I have to be careful that I don't lose this. And there is another YouTuber that I've been watching. Her name is Maggie, and I believe her channel is Sunshine Crafts and Designs or something. And she makes little dangles for these pins. So I have to watch one of her videos so I can make a dangle and not lose my plug from my glue bottle. All right, so I've got my glue on. I don't know if you can see it. It's about as far down as it'll go. And then you just line it up like so. And it's okay if you cover the holes, like I said. It is cut at 2 1/2 by 2 1/2, and that might be a little too big, but it's easier to work with if it's a little bit bigger. The only thing I suggest is if you're using this particular die, if you buy this one, that you watch the acetate here and that you watch the acetate here and here, that it doesn't overlap that, because it'll you'll have to figure out a way to cut it. So you always just kind of, the 2 1/2 by 2 1/2 size fits really well as long as you line it up good. And then you just kind of, you can go over it however you want to get it to set. I just like to use like a paper towel or something to push the glue around, and if it comes out the edges like here, I don't know if you saw that, just wipe it off. You know, it might smear a little bit, but if you get it while it's still wet, I think you'll be in good shape. And even if it does, it just kind of adds to that retro vintage look. I mean, I was trying to figure out ways to maybe make the acetate different colors, and I haven't really played around with that yet. You know, we could do that right now. Let's give it a shot and see what happens. Let's see if we can color the acetate a little bit, maybe in the corners, to give it a little bit of extra vintagey goodness. let's just take a look and try. I've got my walnut stain ink pad here, and let's see if we can get it to adhere. I don't know if it will or not. No, it really didn't do much, so I'm not going to do that. I guess, well, I'll do around the whole thing. I don't know if it'll do anything or not, but it's worth a shot, right? It's always worth a try. If you don't know if you don't try. Okay, so we got the acetate glued down in the background. Inking the acetate didn't work really good. It doesn't look like it made too much of a difference, but now we get to choose what we're going to put inside the slide, and then we'll get it all put together and completed. So I pulled out my Tim Holtz Idea-ology Field Notes Snippets. I've got a whole bunch of little doodads and whatnots here, and I picked out a couple of things that might work well for this particular slide. I was looking at these butterflies and this mushroom, and then I think that this leaf is just a little bit too close in color. It doesn't contrast really well, so we're not going to use anything like that today. But we just want to, you know, have some interest in the slide. So I was actually looking at this butterfly. I thought this was really cute, and I have this little thing that says Specimen on it. Okay, I can grab it. I'm going to put that here for you to see. And it's just really tiny, like really tiny. But I thought that that would look really cute, kind of offset from the butterfly. And then I've also got a little collect tag there that we'll put in the little bottom window. And we'll see how that works. What do you guys think? All right, so this one I thought that I could put like right here. Get rid of these other ones. I mean, I already have a butterfly one, but I thought that this butterfly stood out from the background on this one. What do you guys think? Pretty neat, huh? So I want to use those, and then I thought that I would use this down here in the window area, and I will center these and make them really pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue these off camera and come back, and then we'll work on the eyelets and holes and all that good stuff. Okay, so I've glued down the little doodads and whatnots that I wanted to put into this, and I'll show you this a little bit closer so you can see that when you close this, it'll look like that. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to run a bead of glue around this entire thing so that we can glue it, and then we'll work on punching our holes and putting in our eyelets. And we also have to decide what kind of eyelets we want. And I have a small assortment of eyelets. We've got different colors, and I want to find one that works well with the coloring of this. I don't want to use the same. I want to use something that kind of offsets and stands out, so we'll work on that too. So we're going to go ahead and get this glued. I always like to start with this side, and then because then that way you can get all of the parts so that it actually looks like a slide. And you can put it on the outside, you can put it where the acetate is, it really doesn't matter, just so that it gets glued together and will sit right so that when you run the eyelets, it'll come together really well. And like I said before, the glue does dry clear. What I like to do though is make sure that it's lined up really well. So I start over here in the corner, line it up good, because like I said, we are going to punch the holes, and you know, it's going to feel a little bulky on the inside, but you want to make sure that you line it up from the outer edge first, because if you start on this side and you get it too overlapped, there's no going back. So you want to start there and just apply a little pressure. This is going to take a couple minutes. You don't want to rush this part, because this part is probably in my opinion one of the most important parts, so that it's even, because you don't want a whole lot of white showing from the back side. You want to make sure it's all even and adhered. And you do have a little time with this art glitter glue. Not a lot of time, but you do have a little time. And then, yeah, just smooth it. So I'll finish this off camera, and we'll come back and we'll do the holes in the eyelets. All right. right, so I've got it all glued, and it seems to be adhering pretty well and sticking like it's supposed to, so I guess the glue's doing its job. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to punch the holes to get them to go all the way through, and then we're going to choose eyelets and we're going to set those. And for me, this is all I'm going to do to this specimen card, but you could easily, on the back side, add a pocket, because these would be great little things to tuck into other pockets or folds or whatever for junk journals. But you could also, if you didn't want to add a pocket to the back, or if you didn't want to use a fancy type of paper and you only wanted to do just this part, you could put this on the front of a greeting card. You could make it for any holiday, any occasion. It would be really cool maybe to put your kid's photo here, and then maybe, you know, their name and grade, and create like a progressive piece of wall art. I don't know, the possibilities are endless when it comes to stuff like this, and you just really have to use your imagination. So this is what I came up with. My imagination was these cool Halloween and fall inspired types of slides, but you could really do anything you want. So yeah, that's just where I'm at. But anyway, I've got my Crop-a-Dile here. I've got the Crop-a-Dile II. It's big and bulky, and I still don't know how to use it very well, but I do have sort of a handle on how to do this project with this tool, because I had to watch some tutorial videos again on how to use this thing, because it's got so many settings and it does so many cool things, and I don't use it a lot, so yeah, I had to relearn how to use it. But it's got some settings at the top, and I'm not going to demo the Crop-a-Dile today. Pam from the Paper Outpost has a really great tutorial video on how to use this, and I would suggest that you watch that. I can even put a link below for you guys if you want. That way you can watch it for yourself, and if you have one of these and you're not sure how to use it. There's also, if you go online and do a Google search, you can find, oh my gosh, I can't think. You can find instruction sheets or specification sheets on how to use this cool tool. So anyway, I am going to just poke my holes first. So I'll do all of those, and you just line it up underneath here. There's a little hole puncher and an eyelet setter on this, and it also does grommets. It doesn't do brads. I thought about doing brads with this project when I first started, but I decided that eyelets would be better, because then you could flip the card around and it would look nicer. When you use brads, they have that those flaps on the back that you unfold to secure whatever it is you're securing, and I didn't want that for this particular project. So all right, my holes are cut. You can see all the way through them. Now we've just got to decide which eyelets we would like to use, and we'll finish this puppy up. So I've got a couple of different kinds. I've got some copper, some, I don't know if that's supposed to look like iron or steel. I've got some bright silver, I've got some brass, I've got some kind of brownish, and I've got kind of a gold color. I'm not sure which one I like the best. I don't want to do shiny, because this is already, I want this to be the main focus. I don't want the eyelets to be your main focus. So I want to find like a correlating or corresponding, or just a color that'll kind of go with it. Let's try this one. I don't know what color this is. Yeah, that's kind of cool. It kind of blends. I don't know if you can see that. It kind of blends, right? I like that one. And I do have a few. I don't have very many, but I have a few I could use, and as long as I have 4, that's all we need. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set these. I'll set one for you right now, and then I'll do the rest off camera, and we'll see the finished project. Okay, so on the Crop-a-Dile you have, like I said, a couple of settings, and I'm not going to demo this, but these are your hole punch settings, and then this is your eyelet and grommet settings, whatever. So, and I've already got it turned to the ones I need. So yeah, it's probably going to be blurry. I apologize, but those are the ones I'm going to use. So I'll just go ahead and set this one for you. Just line it up. These are the 1/8 size. And yeah, we have a set eyelet just like that. It was pretty easy. Come on, there we go. There's one side. We'll flip it over, and there's the other side. So I'm going to do the rest of them off camera, and then we'll come back and we'll wrap it up. Alright, so I got all the eyelets set, and it looks like our specimen card is pretty much done. Like I said before, if you want to add extra embellishments or do other things, please feel free to use your imagination to its, you know, maximum capacity, I guess. You could also take and ink around the edges. I did do that on a couple of these. The photo paper, though, with the Distress Mica Spray Stain, it will take ink, but it's, I don't know, it just kind of dulls it. So I don't prefer to use that on these. I think I did it on this one. I don't know if you can see or not, but it kind of dulls the shine a little bit. So, and I think I used the Oxide to do that, and I just didn't really like how it came out. So, you know, I don't recommend distressing anything you do with the photo paper. If you choose to try the photo paper with the Distress, I can't speak today, the Distress Mica Spray. But on regular paper, like this was just basic cardstock that I did this one, and I was able to ink around the edges, and I did use the Walnut stain ink as opposed to the Oxide. But this is just paper that I just spritzed some spray on to get that shiny, really just splattered look on this one. But if you notice, you know, between the two, you know, this one's shiny and looks more metallic, and this is flatter, and there goes my project. So anyway, I hope that you guys enjoyed following along with me. I'm not great at tutorials as of yet. I'm trying to, you know, build my skill set with doing the videos. Like I said, I used to do the Instacart videos, and they were a lot of fun, but I did them in my car. This is a little different. I'm using my actual camera as opposed to my phone, so I'm trying to just do better with my filming and video editing skills. So I hope you guys will bear with me and not give up just because this one might not be as great as somebody else's. I'm still new. Even though I've had a channel for 4 years, I'm still new. And I'm trying. But I hope that you guys like this project, and that you'll give it a try for yourself. I will do my very best to remember everything that I used, and I'll link everything at the bottom in the description. So if there's a product that you saw that you like, you can acquire it at your leisure. I am not sponsored by anybody, and I don't make any extra money off of recommending products at this point in time, because I'm still a young channel and I don't have the number of followers that I need. But you're certainly welcome to try out some of the products that I try, and you know, you might find one that you love as well. So in any case, that's it for today's video. I will create something fabulous for the next one, and like I said, try out that Facebook group. A lot of talented people are there, and they do some really, really beautiful work. So I just want to, you know, continue to be part of that community and to be a part of this community as well. So please, if you like this video, please like, comment, share, and if you have not yet, please consider subscribing to my channel. As the time goes by, I'm going to be working a little bit more diligently on creating more content and doing some really cool projects. I've got a lot of ideas and a lot of supplies to use, so you know, I hope you guys will follow along with me. That's it for me. Once again, I'm Michelle, and this is Shell's Bits and Pieces, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Thanks a lot, guys. See you on the next one.